You planted it perfectly. You followed every guide. And by June or July, it looked like this. That is not a gardening failure. That is a physics problem. And almost nobody is talking about it. This video fixes that. If your silver mound collapses every single summer, no matter what you do, this is exactly why. Most care guides treat this plant like a standard perennial. Water it, mulch it, watch it grow. But that advice completely misses how this plant actually works at a biological level. And that one gap is the reason so many beautiful borders fall apart by mid-season. By the end of this video, you will have a clear science, back plan, mulch, soil, pruning, and chemistry to keep your plant as a tight, glowing dome all season long. Here is what is actually happening inside your plant when it splits open. Silver mound artemisia evolved in the dry, rocky mountain regions of Central Europe and Asia. Every feature it has, the fine silver hairs, the dense mounding habit, the tolerance for poor soil, developed in low humidity, high airflow conditions. When you place that plant into a typical American summer, high heat, high humidity, still air, something predictable happens inside every stem. This is called transpiration overload. The plant pulls water into its stems faster than its dense foliage can release it. Think of it like a pipe that receives more water than it can push out, pressure builds, and the structure weakens from the inside. The stems swell, they grow too fast. The inner crown gets shaded out and loses its strength, and then the whole dome falls outward under its own weight. So why do some silver mounds never flop while others collapse every single year? The answer is timing. Do not wait for the split. In early to midsummer, just as the plant finishes its first flush of growth, cut the outer third back evenly. Shape it back into a firm, tight dome. This one action immediately reduces the pressure inside the stems, opens airflow to the inner crown, and triggers a compact, dense second flush that holds its shape through the rest of the season. And this is where most gardeners lose an entire season. They prune reactively instead of preventively. Controlled pruning is structural engineering, not cosmetic maintenance. Now here is something that surprises even experienced gardeners. The mulch around your silver mound is most likely damaging it, not because mulch is bad, but because wood mulch holds moisture right at the soil surface. It stays warm and damp for hours after rainfall, and that is exactly the microclimate that fungal spores need to colonize your plant's crown. Silver mound leaves are ultra-fine and packed densely together. When those leaves rest against wet organic matter day after day, fungal decay spreads fast. You will first notice yellowing at the base, then a soft, dark center. By the time it is visible, the rot has already reached the crown. Most guides recommend mulch to retain moisture. For this specific plant, that standard advice completely misses the problem it is creating. The fix is mineral mulching, and the difference in your plant's health becomes visible within weeks. Clear all organic mulch at least 6 inches from the crown. Replace it with a 1-inch layer of clean pea gravel, crushed granite, or coarse stone. Rainwater passes straight through the stones and drains into the soil below. The stone surface dries within minutes. Your silver foliage never rests against damp organic matter again. Fungal spores have no warm, wet surface to colonize, and there is a visual reward. Pale stone reflects light back up into the lower canopy, intensifying that luminous silver glow that makes this plant so striking in a border. Moisture is this plant's enemy at the surface. Manage the microclimate, not just the soil. Everything you see above the soil is a direct reflection of what is happening below it. If your garden sits on heavy clay, which is true across much of the Midwest, Southeast, and Mid-Atlantic, your silver mound is quietly struggling for oxygen at the root level. Clay particles pack tightly together. Water cannot drain freely. Oxygen cannot reach the roots. The root zone becomes starved of air and root rot begins before you ever see a symptom in the foliage. If your plant looks more stressed after rainfall than before it, drainage is your problem, not watering. This is where soil flocculation matters. That term simply means breaking the tight clay structure apart to create permanent air channels inside the soil. 4. In ground planting, amend the planting site before you plant. Work in coarse builder's sand, fine grit, and aged compost to open the structure and keep it open season after season. But if your clay is severe, the most reliable solution is a raised bed or a breathable premium container. Use 2 parts high-quality potting soil to 1 part coarse, perlite, or pumice. This gives the roots exactly what they evolved for: fast drainage, high oxygen, 0 standing water. If the root zone cannot breathe, nothing you do above ground will save the plant. Here is a detail that most standard care guides skip entirely, and it explains dull foliage, persistent aphid problems, and a silver color that never quite reaches its full intensity. Artemisia schmidtiana performs best in slightly alkaline to neutral soil, a pH between 7.0 and 8.0. If your soil is acidic, from pine trees nearby, heavy rainfall, or naturally low pH ground, the plant cannot produce its essential oils efficiently. Those oils are not just fragrance. They are the plant's biological defense system. Without adequate oil production, the foliage becomes vulnerable, the silver fades, and insects move in. Test your soil pH before anything else. A basic soil meter takes 2 minutes and tells you exactly what you are working with. In early spring, amend with garden lime, calcium carbonate, or clean wood ash. The calcium does 2 things simultaneously. It shifts the pH toward the alkaline range, activating the plant's natural oil production and pest defense. And it structurally reinforces the cell walls inside every stem, making the plant physically stronger and more resistant to mid-summer collapse. Correct soil chemistry does not just feed the plant, it activates its built-in defenses. The final mistake, and it is a costly one that sets the plant back by an entire season, is treating silver mound like a heavy feeder. High nitrogen fertilizers force fast, loose, structurally weak growth. The plant looks lush and full for a few weeks. Then it falls apart under its own weight because the stems never had time to develop real structural density. You end up creating the exact problem you were trying to prevent. Silver mound has a natural symbiotic relationship with mycorrhizal fungi. These are microscopic organisms that attach to the root system and extend its reach far beyond what roots can access alone. Think of them as a secondary root network that mines phosphorus and trace minerals from even rocky, poor soil without triggering forced, artificial growth. Support that relationship instead of overriding it with synthetic fertilizers. And once your plant is performing at this level, replicating it is straightforward. Skip division. It stresses established plants and can set them back by a full season. Instead, take softwood cuttings in late spring. Choose a healthy, non-flowering 3-inch tip. Strip the lower foliage. Press it into a moist, ultra-gritty propagation substrate. Within 3 weeks, gentle resistance when you tug the cutting tells you roots have formed. Within 5 weeks, you have a new plant ready to extend your border. Support the biology that already exists in the soil. Do not override it. Silver mound artemisia is not a difficult plant. It is a plant with specific requirements that standard advice consistently gets wrong, and now you know exactly what those requirements are. Fix the mulch. Correct the pH. Prune before the flop. Give the roots room to breathe. If your current mulch is wood-based, that is your first action this weekend. Swap it for stone, and within 2 to 3 weeks, you will see the difference at the base of the plant. No yellowing, no soft center, no rot. That one change alone will visibly improve the health of your border before the end of the season. The rest of the system builds from there.